HASIM, he looked ready at the press conference.
He looks big like a house.
He is. You know, look at the protocols that Jake is taking him to at this point. You know what I mean? How did Jake learn these little tricks? You know what I mean?
BJ
You gotta. There you go, BJ. That's great experience to have in your corner. You know, not somebody that was at the elite level in boxing, but somebody that clearly is very knowledgeable in the sport. Could give him knowledge in terms of how to make sure HASIM is not 100% on fight night. I do think that the rehydration protocol is going to be a problem. I think that the weight in itself is going to be a problem. And you can't help, especially when it's HASIM, to expect him to do big things. And, you know, it's funny because you got the boxing world that's ready to knock Jake Paul down. I'm not really ready to knock him down. But then you got the other side of the world that's like they don't understand and they're so for Jake. You know, I think as long as he's in the ring, I want it to be a good fight. As long as he's in the ring, I do want him to be able to show that, you know, people can come from something else and box, and people can come from boxing and do something else. It's what I'm trying to prove to people now. You know what I mean? So I think in a lot of ways we've kind of flipped sides. But at the end of the day, again, you know, you go back and you take a look at it as HASIM Rahman Jr., you know, so we're always going to be rooting for him.
What did you make of the press conference, man? HASIM he went at him. He's playing his game, you know, that talking game.
Yeah.
What did you make of the press conference?
I like that HASIM, he seems to be like he has his mind made up on what he wants to do. He's very definitive in terms of what he is expecting from this fight. He's expecting to be the first guy to beat Jake Paul. He's expecting, you know, this to be a real boxing match. You know, I don't think that prior to this fight, there hasn't been a true boxing match that Jake Paul has been in. And, you know, Jake is, you know, hey, if I win, you do this, you do that. HASIM's like, nah, man, that ain't where I come from. I come from, we fight, we make money, we go home. You know what I mean? So I dig that about him. He didn't let go of, I'm a fighter. You know what I mean? And that everybody else has let go of being a fighter and has come into the world of the everything else. You know? I'm gonna give my honest answer. You guys have to consider who's making the call here, and this is really Ryan is the one calling out Tank, and he's the one really pushing for this fight. So what's early to us could be right on time for Ryan. He has his game plan, and then we all have what we think he should do. So I always respect the fighter to have their game plan, know what they want to do, and then go after it.
Rank the top 3 lightweights for you right now.
Oh Lord, Tank is my number 1 guy. I would say Tank, Lomachenko, and then you say Haney, but I mean everybody else is right there. Tank, Loma, Haney. Everybody else is right there.
I think Devin Haney fights Lomachenko in October.
That'd be tight. That'd be tight. Every fight's great, and given there's no injuries in these fights, even win or lose, like the loser should be fighting somebody else. The loser's not supposed to go down the ladder. That should be gone, man. That's a part of boxing that shouldn't exist. You know what I mean? I remember when I was coming up, and there would be guys that were hoping I would lose so that I wouldn't eventually be in line to fight them. But they knew that if I lost, the business of boxing would handle itself, and they wouldn't have to say, I don't want to fight Shawn, or I'd rather fight this guy or that guy, you know? So I think that is a part of boxing that should not exist. If a guy like Ryan Garcia loses to a guy like Lomachenko or loses to Tank Davis, if Ryan isn't injured and Ryan says, you know, hey, everything still is clicking the way I wanted to click, put him in the ring with Haney. Because even though he lost to Tank, he could be Haney. You know what I mean? Like, every fight's great, and we be robbing ourselves if we say that this fight isn't worth something because we see one of the guys lose. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
Shawn, on this fight, Ryan's fight, do you think it's going past 7?
I mean, I don't know. I hate making predictions. I do think it'll go more than 4 because I just think that Fortuna's he's got more than enough experience to to make sure he tames this young lion for up to 4 rounds at the least, But once you get it to round 7, I think that's where it's actually gonna get interesting. We'll learn a lot about both fighters then. I don't think we'll learn things about Fortuna, but we'll definitely be able to learn about Garcia if this goes 7+ rounds. We'll be able to learn a lot about Ryan.
So now he's in a face Triple G. You think he can come back and beat before?
I think the up and down with the weight is too much for Canelo. Canelo needs to, if he's going to fight at 175, he needs to give his body time to adapt to being at 175 pounds. I think in another year he could really contend with guys like Bivol and the rest of those guys up there, but he's got to give his body time to acclimate to the weight class. Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe for more videos of your favorite fighters over here on Fight Up TV, and give us a follow online as well at Fight Up TV on Twitter and on Instagram. We appreciate it, guys.